requested to please settle down as we are about to start. I also request everyone to please switch their phones on silent mode. Thank you. Everyone is requested to please settle down. We are about to start with today's proceedings. Respected members of the audience, honorable guests, scholars, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. On behalf of the Islamabad Policy Research Institute, I, Ikra Banu Suhail, welcome you all as we enter the second day of the Margalla Dialogue 2025, the future of global order, cooperation or confrontation. Yesterday's discussions explored the evolving landscape of great power politics, regional security and connectivity, and the shifting contours of global economic competition, setting a robust foundation for today's discussions. We will now begin with the second session of Forum B, titled Regional Security, Connectivity, and Economy. I request the moderator for the session, Ambassador Asif Durrani, to please take his seat on the stage. Our keynote speaker for the session, General Ehsanul Haq, former chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee, will be joining us online. I would now like to request the speakers of the session, His Excellency Yerzan Kistafin, Ambassador of Republic of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, Dr. Hu Shisheng, Deputy Secretary General, China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, People's Republic of China, Dr. Roxolana Zygon, Director of Scientific Analysis, Center of International and Strategic Research, Russian Federation, Ambassador Mashallah Shakri, former Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran to Pakistan, to please take their seats on the stage. Mr. Idris Zaman, who is the former Foreign Minister of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, will be joining us online. Our moderator for the session, Ambassador Asif Durrani, Senior Research Fellow at IPRI, was a career diplomat and journalist and had served as Pakistan's permanent representative to Afghanistan, apart from being ambassador to Iran and the UAE. I now hand over the floor to the moderator for the session's proceedings.
Thank you, Ikra. Thank you. A very warm good morning to ladies and gentlemen. This is the continuation of yesterday's discussion we have had on regional security, connectivity, and economy from the regional perspective. Yesterday we had eminent scholars from Central Asia and Russia and And this morning we will have scholars and diplomats dealing with the issues of regional connectivity, security, as well as economy from Iran, from Russia, China, and Kazakhstan. We know what to do, but the issue is there are certain mindsets, there are certain hurdles to which none of us have been responsible the way we would have expected that the things should go smoothly with the passage of time. However, there are certain mindsets, there are certain political positions taken by states which are causing problems. For us, Afghanistan, during the past 46 years, is in a state of flux. And if you look at the geography, then it becomes a stumbling block as far as smooth connectivity is concerned. However, this does not mean that we don't have to try. We are still trading. Of course, there are certain roadblocks, but the will is there. Political will is there, which has been demonstrated. You heard our worthy speakers yesterday about the connectivity, and I look forward to having an interactive session this morning. We begin with our keynote speaker this morning, General Ehsanul Haq. General Ehsanul Haq is former chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee, Pakistan. He commanded a corps responsible for the defense of the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. He previously served as DG Military Intelligence and DG ISI. He has been conferred the award of Hilal-e-Imtiaz Military, Nishan-e-Imtiaz Military, Chevalier de la Légion d'Honneur, and the King Abdulaziz Medal from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Ehsanul Haq has a deep insight into the entire Afghan problem. He has been a witness to military and diplomatic developments ever since the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. From security perspective, General Ehsanul Haq's analyses have been valued by the strategic community. I request General Ehsanul Haq to kindly deliver his keynote address. He'll be addressing us online. He's right now in Australia. However, he has been kind enough to address this gathering. Sir, General Ehsanul Haq, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Durrani Saab. It's a pleasure to see you all on the screen, of course. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. I consider it a privilege to participate in today's deliberations on a subject that is important to our whole region, particularly for us in Pakistan. I'm confident today's proceedings will be a substantive contribution to promote scholarship and a better understanding of the security challenges to regional trade and economic connectivity and its opportunity cost for all the regional countries. My compliments to IPRI for organizing the event and collecting an impressive array of specialists and accomplished practitioners on various aspects of the subject. Pakistan's unique location at the crossroads of geostrategic landscape and diverse cultural identities connected to multiple regions, making Central Asia, South and West Asia as close neighbors. Our civilizational, ethnic, linguistic, and historical connections to these regions underscores Pakistan's pivotal role in fostering cooperation and connectivity across these interconnected regions. Over the decades, it has been an enduring policy priority in Pakistan to make the country a regional hub of trade, transit, and economic activity. In the recent Regional Transport Ministers' Conference in Islamabad last month, the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Ministers reinforced this commitment and stated that connectivity is not optional. It is essential for regional stability, growth, shared opportunities, and progress, impacting the lives of millions of our people. Pakistan is situated in a complicated neighborhood with a contentious relationship with its two neighbors, India, and unfortunately, lately, also with Afghanistan. While the connectivity and economic cooperation in South Asia have been severely impacted by India's vetoing the working of the South Asia, the SARC, and confrontational policies towards all its neighbors, particularly Pakistan, there have been strenuous efforts to realize closer connectivity, enhanced economic cooperation, and trade to our north and west through China, Afghanistan, and Iran. It is reassuring that there is a strong consensus and commitment in Eurasia and the broader Middle East on this agenda of economic cooperation, trade, and regional connectivity. And this has progressed into mega initiatives in road, rail infrastructure, power transmission, energy pipelines, economic trade corridors, ports, and logistic infrastructure. The most pivotal of these has been the Belt Road Initiative and its flagship project, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, whose transformative impact on the regional connectivity, trade, and economic activity is prominently visible. The logic for better regional economic integration and connectivity, especially between the energy-rich Central Asia and energy-deficient South Asia, is overwhelming. However, the vision for economic cooperation through multiplying trade corridors had to be shelved due to the decades of conflict in Afghanistan. With the withdrawal of foreign forces and the return of Taliban into power, Pakistan, like other neighboring countries, hoped it would usher a period of peace and stability in Afghanistan. Given Afghanistan's turbulent history and the futility of the last 4 years of engagement with Taliban officials, it is not surprising that the regional governments increasingly view that country as a security challenge to be contained rather than much desired economic and connectivity hub. This is particularly disconcerting for Pakistan, as we had determined that our strategic pivot from geopolitics to geoeconomics. This shift was prominently reflected in our national security policy with focus on economic security. The national security policy specifically identified Afghanistan as key fostering connectivity with the Central Asian republics and was central to the realization of Pakistan's vision, Central Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, you are well aware that Pakistan has been a victim and in the front line against the post-9/11 war against violent extremism and terrorism. For over 2 decades, we have borne the brunt of Al-Qaeda affiliated terrorism that primarily emanated from Afghanistan and caused over 100,000 lives and an economic impact exceeding $130 billion on us. While for the world at large, success in counter-terrorism is vital, For us in Pakistan, it is an existential issue. Despite constraints and shortfalls, our national security policy and counter-terrorism strategy evolved and responded effectively to the challenges. Military operations in Swat, South Waziristan, and Operation Zarb Azb in North Waziristan were a watershed in turning the tide. As a consequence, there was a drastic decline in terrorist activities, that is from over 4,000 incidents in 2013 to only 319 in 2020. Incontrovertibly signaling Pakistan's resolve to defeat the scourge of terrorism. Our successes were widely acknowledged, and Pakistan was identified as the only country in the 10 most impacted countries that saw a clear reduction in fatalities from 2015 to 2021. China, Uzbekistan, the coalition forces in Afghanistan at that time, and other friendly neighboring countries were particularly appreciative as these operations targeted, besides the TTP, Al-Qaeda and its affiliates, the ETIM, IMU, and ISIS or Daesh. As the withdrawal of US troops in 2021 grew closer and there was upsurge in security incidents in Afghanistan, it was clear that the transnational terrorist groups there, including Al-Qaeda, the TTP, and the Islamic State Khorasan province, are gearing up to ramp up their operations in the region, invigorated by the Taliban victory, reinforced by the militants released from prisons since the Taliban takeover. The TTP, BLA, Islamic State Khorasan, IMU, ETIM, and a score of others deepened their foothold in Afghanistan. According to the UN Analytical Support and Sanctions Monitoring Team, Afghanistan currently serves as a growing terrorism militant hub from Central Asia to South Asia. Terrorist groups in Afghanistan that operates at a significant scale to conduct terrorist operations in Pakistan, including increasingly using Afghan or Taliban members in cross-border attacks. TTP's members and their families receive regular aid packages from the Taliban, the UN report said, adding that Taliban authorities reportedly provided a monthly $50,000 to the TTP leader Noor Wali Masood. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, and you are a witness to it yesterday, Pakistan is faced with an acute resurgence of militancy and terrorism from sanctuaries based in Afghanistan. It is estimated that the military and security services have suffered the highest numbers of terror attacks and casualties in Pakistan since 2014. The people of Pakistan had welcomed the withdrawal of foreign forces and were looking forward to the return of peace and stability in Afghanistan, and were expecting that it would usher in a period of tranquility on our western borders. Unfortunately, they stand disappointed. Instead, Operation Zarb-e-Istehkam had to be launched to neutralize the new threat and speed up the implementation of the National Action Plan. More than 4 years of engagement and dialogue with the Taliban officials on the TTP have been futile. Confronted with a deteriorating security situation, Pakistan has been compelled beyond its perennial policy of strategic patience towards Afghanistan and adopting a more proactive policy of synergizing all leverages in dealing with the Taliban regime, including kinetic actions against TTP sanctuaries, restriction of illegal Afghan residents in Pakistan. However, simultaneously, Pakistan has retained an effective diplomatic engagement bilaterally as well as through the good offices of brotherly countries like Turkey, Turkey, and Qatar to persuade the Taliban to realistically examine the cost-benefit equation of their TTP policy and move towards better neighborly relations. Ladies and gentlemen, although for now the TTP poses the single deadliest threat emanating from Afghanistan, the evolving security situation and challenge of militancy and terrorism has a regional and international context and evoke serious concerns. According to the 2020 Doha Agreement between the United States and Taliban, the latter had to stop individuals or groups from using Afghan territory who posed threats to other countries. The 35th report of the UN monitoring team, released in February 25, underscored that Saif al-Adl, the Al-Qaeda head, is strategizing to reorganize Al-Qaeda's operational network in Afghanistan and reactivate sleeper cells in Iraq, Libya, and Europe. The 68th SIGAR report, released 4 months back, pointed out the same issue, that the Taliban were giving shelter to Al-Qaeda, TTP, and other terrorist outfits. Afghanistan's neighbors frequently express concern about the threat from the Islamic State Khorasan. Recent years have seen a notable increase in ISKP activities, either targeting Central Asia or being perpetrated by Central Asian nationals. Regional countries also are concerned about a plethora of other transnational militant groups in northern Afghanistan. They remain a key priority for China, Russia, and Central Asian states, as they belong to the Uyghur, Uzbek, Tajik, and other ethnic groups with links to constituencies in their respective countries. In such a dire scenario, it is indeed perplexing for Taliban officials, including Foreign Minister Muttaqi, to claim that there are no complaints or accusations of cross-border militancy from any other neighboring country except Pakistan. With the withdrawal of the coalition forces, Western engagement and influence in Afghanistan has been fading. Their interests are now limited to selected humanitarian issues and monitoring the presence of certain specific transnational terrorist militant organizations. Most of the responsibility for regional cooperation now falls on the shoulders of Afghanistan's neighbors and the Taliban themselves. Taliban also vividly identify this reality and the need to cooperate in the region. However, there is a clearly evident lack of trust between the Taliban and their neighbors. Border tensions with Pakistan and Tajikistan and the presence of transnational terrorist militant groups is a serious source of concern. Differences over water management, which have been simmering for decades, have also been growing and may escalate due to the impact of climate change. Afghanistan is also viewed as a weak link in the connectivity chain due to Western sanctions and almost universal aversion to the formal recognition of the regime. Regional countries have, of course, continued bilateral engagements with the Taliban officials over narrow areas of urgent concern, with mixed results, as we have experienced in the deadlock between Pakistan and Kabul. In the prevalent challenging environment, a regional multilateral approach through the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the ECO, the OIC, or the Moscow format may play a helpful role in breaking the deadlock. Although various governments have dealt with the Taliban in different ways, and no country has formally recognized the Taliban regime, common themes have emerged in regional policy towards the Taliban. Regional governments have concluded that engaging with the de facto authorities was the best way to nudge them towards responsiveness towards their agenda. Regardless of which is the forum, broad-based cooperation could address the regional concerns about the militant groups' sanctuaries inside Afghanistan, while clarifying Taliban's concerns and fears about insurgents getting help from outside Afghanistan. Similarly, better integration of regional economic development plans may lead to forging shared economic interests, building incentives for cooperation instead of destructive rivalries. Recently, there have been calls by some of the member states to revive the Shanghai Cooperation Organization contact group on Afghanistan. The group has been dormant for a long time. A more recent development has been the formation of the Central Asian Republics Contact Group on Afghanistan in their meeting last August. Described as the Tashkent format, it declared that it was not intended to imply collective pressure on Kabul, but as an opportunity for dialogue and integration of Afghanistan into the region. Besides trade, transit, and infrastructure, the Tashkent format have highlighted a strategic security dimension, clarifying boundaries of what is acceptable on issues like extremism, border escalation, or water management. Ladies and gentlemen, attempts to create broad international formats on Afghanistan have consistently stalled under the weight of competing interests. It may therefore be prudent to structure a format that represents those directly involved and impacted by the situation in Afghanistan, including, of course, Afghanistan. Unlike extra-regional players, a regional agenda has a clear stake in the stability, peace, and integration of Afghanistan in the neighborhood. There are a number of such formats, trilateral and quadrilateral groupings, sincerely endeavoring towards these objectives. It may be the right time to harmonize these efforts into a common institutionalized platform for shared purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your very enlightening views. You have set the tone regarding the regional connectivity, but with particular reference to the dangers we face, the problems we face, and challenges we face. And I'm sure that our panelists, they would also ponder upon these issues which the entire region faces. And when we want to progress together, so there are certain hurdles which we have to overcome. Your insight into Afghan problem is legendary, and we have benefited from your observations. Ladies and gentlemen, now I request dear friend and very prominent diplomat of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Ambassador Yerzhan Kostapin. He is Ambassador of Republic of Kazakhstan to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. He's a graduate of Karaganda State University and the European Center for International Strategic Research, Brussels. Ambassador Kostafin began his career in the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Finance before joining the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where he held successive senior positions, including Director of the Administrative Department and the Head of the Legal Division. His international assignments have included service as Minister Counselor at the embassies of Kazakhstan and Belgium, the United States, where he played a key role in strengthening bilateral and multilateral relations. As chair of the Association of Kazakh Diplomats, he contributed to the professional development of Kazakhstan's diplomatic corps since 2021. Ambassador Kostafin has led Kazakhstan's mission in Pakistan, fostering political dialogue, economic cooperation, and cultural exchanges. He is married and has 3 children. Excellency, Kostafin has been actively pursuing the idea of regional connectivity among Central and West Asian states. We look forward to his innovative ideas about the greater economic integration between South and Central Asia. Ambassador, you have the floor.
Can I?
Yes.
Honorable President IPRI Iksan, Honorable Director General IPRI Mr. Janjua, Honorable Senator Dr. Zarka Taimur, Honorable Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Atajan Mavlamov, Ambassador Durrani, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank our dear friends and brothers from IPRI Institute for this kind invitation. It's a great honor and privilege for me to participate in this very important Margalla dialogue as a speaker. If you allow me, I would like to share perspectives about regional connectivity, security, cooperation in general from our perspectives. As you know, I serve in this beautiful country since 2021, and what I see is that we sometimes, unfortunately, underestimate cooperation between Central Asia and South Asia, and in particular with Pakistan. So if you have a look at the map, this is the ECO map, and you see the member countries. Kazakhstan is right at the top. Some, I would say, fascinating facts and figures. Kazakhstan is the largest landlocked country in the world. And if you have a look at the size of our country, we are 9th largest. And for example, with Russia, we share the longest land border in the world. And the distance of this land border is equal, the length of this border is equal to the distance between London and New York. It is 7,600 kilometers long. Being the largest landlocked country, our President of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, stressed several times that for us, connectivity, developing our transport and transit potential, is not just another area of cooperation, but rather a matter of priority, if not survival. That's why our government is implementing a policy when we are trying to transform our country from a land-locked into a land-linked. And in this term, I must say that cooperation with Pakistan can, shall, and will play a very important role. Now, when we talk about cooperation between our two countries, I will stress that there are 3 main dimensions. The first one, of course, is about our bilateral cooperation. And let me share with you some figures. When I just joined our mission back in 2021, our trade was about $50 million at the highest. Now, last year, our trade was $293 million. it is growing. I do understand that these figures are still, I would say, very low, and we are, I would even say, far beyond from the real potential that we have, but still, our relations are growing, our trade turnover is growing as well, and it is first of all thanks to the connectivity that we managed to develop so far. And for example, last year we implemented a pilot project delivering goods from the northern part of Kazakhstan to Port Jebel Ali, Dubai, in collaboration with the NLC. So we are working with the big state-owned companies like the NLC, with big private companies like the TCS. For example, with the TCS, we delivered goods from Karachi seaport to Baku via Aktau seaport in Kazakhstan. So we proved that these routes are operational, efficient. Now, prerequisite to developing our connectivity is, of course, security. Without security, without stability, we cannot provide sustainability to the routes that we are working on. And this is something that we should be focused on very much. And our suggestion is to establish a regional security dialogue. The threats, the challenges that we face today in the region, such as terrorism, extremism, radicalism, drug trafficking, human trafficking, these challenges cannot be addressed by any country in the world alone. That's why we should develop collective measures in order to address these challenges in the most effective way. And that's why we believe that we should join our hands. And the most important part is that we should maintain a dialogue and we should develop direct interaction between our law enforcement agencies. This is, I would even say, priority number one. Now, going back to the connectivity issues, I must say that today the entire Central Asian region is a landlocked region, as I already mentioned, is focused on developing connectivity with Pakistan. Because, for us, getting access to the bomb waters is extremely important. Through your seaports in Karachi, Gwadar, Qasim, we can boost our trade. And it brings me to another level. As I said, there are three dimensions when it comes to bilateral cooperation, between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. The first one is bilateral cooperation. The second one is regional cooperation. So what we are doing now, we are developing different routes. Our main principle that we are implementing is diversification. We should develop as many routes connecting our countries as we can. And as you see, Kazakhstan being at the top of Central Asia, while Pakistan being at the bottom, if we connect our region, our countries, other countries in between, they can enjoy regional connectivity. As of today, I must say that we have 4 main routes that connect our countries. The first one is the Karakoram Highway, which starts at Sus port in Pakistan, crosses China, then Kyrgyzstan, and finally reaches Almaty. This is the shortest and the cheapest route that we have today. The second route is which goes from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, KP, from Peshawar to Kabul, then Mazar-e Sharif, enters Uzbekistan in Termez, and then from Uzbekistan we can easily enter Kazakhstan. Our dear brothers from Uzbekistan, they are working on developing so-called Trans-Afghan Rail Route, which is extremely important, and Kazakhstan fully supports this initiative because we believe that this is a kind of projects that, frankly speaking, we should have developed long ago. But now, what we see is that this railway corridor can connect Central Asia and South Asia and can significantly boost our cooperation. Another route which goes via Afghanistan as well starts in Balochistan. In Balochistan and Chaman. From Chaman we go to Kandahar, then Farah. From Farah we go to Herat, and from Herat to Turgundi, and via Turkmenistan, again, we can be connected with Kazakhstan. These are 2 very important routes that we're working on with relevant authorities of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kazakhstan, of course. And what we see is that these routes can help to develop connectivity not only between our 2 regions, I mean Central Asia and South Asia, but it is also about the third dimension, the last one. It is about connecting the continents. What I'm saying is that via your seaports, we can get connected, as I already mentioned, with the Gulf countries, with African markets, with the Southeast Asian nations. On the other hand, Pakistan can get connected via Central Asia with so-called big Eurasia, Eurasian countries, Russia, European countries, Azerbaijan, Turkey, so on and so forth. So it's a win-win situation. These are mutually beneficial projects. As of today, in Eurasia, there are two main railway corridors. The first one is the Middle Corridor, which connects the western part of China with the European Union. The delivery time is about 3 weeks in comparison to 40, 50 days by sea. And at the border between Kazakhstan and China, there is a dry port called Khargos. This is the largest dry port in the world. And as of today, about 80% of trade between China and the European Union is done via this middle corridor, which, as I said, starts in the western part of China. It crosses Kazakhstan. Then from Aktau seaport, it crosses the Caspian Sea, enters Baku, Azerbaijan. From Azerbaijan, it goes to Georgia, then Turkey, and from Turkey, it finally enters the European Union. Another very important multimodal corridor, which is called North-South. It starts in Chabahar. From Chabahar, from Iran, it goes along the Caspian Sea, or you can cross the Caspian Sea, and you can reach the Russian Federation. So what I see as of today, unfortunately, Pakistan is not a part neither of the Middle Corridor nor of the North-South International Transport Corridor. And the route that we are developing with our dear Turkmen brothers, with Afghanistan, and with our Pakistani brothers as well, this route, which starts in Balochistan, crosses the western part of Afghanistan, and then from Turkmenistan, you can have access to Kazakhstan. This route, in fact, it gives you an opportunity to get connected with these two main international transport corridors in Eurasia. Moreover, Pakistan can become another alternative within the framework of the international North-South transport corridor. So connectivity is everything. And what we see is that this connectivity, as I already mentioned, can boost significantly our cooperation. Last year, I visited Karachi, and when I was in Karachi, I met with the Pakistan Business Council leadership, and they did a research on our bilateral trade. And what they say is that according to the existing potential of Pakistan and Kazakhstan, our bilateral trade can easily reach $14 billion. Can you imagine? These are only two countries, and we are talking about $14 billion. And we are still around maybe $300 million. So what we see as a main prerequisite for boosting our trade, our cooperation, our people-to-people, B2B, whatsoever, is our regional connectivity. Another very important factor that we do not pay enough attention to is about lack of information. Unfortunately, we have to recognize this fact that our societies, including our business communities, still know little about the existing potential and the existing opportunities. That's why we should also develop direct interaction, cooperation, partnership between our media communities. It is extremely important. Via media communities, we can reach millions of people. We can share this information. As of today, unfortunately, we received news about Pakistan, for example, from the third parties, let's call it this way. And you never ever hear something good about Pakistan. Same with Kazakhstan and many other countries. So that's why what we see is that we should also develop cooperation between our media communities to establish direct exchange and, of information on what is happening on the ground, the latest developments. Now, when it comes to connectivity, I'm happy to say that, for example,
my apologies, I have to manage the time.
Sure. Our Azerbaijani brothers, our Turkish brothers, they have established direct flights, which are extremely important in terms of developing connectivity. And we are planning to relaunch our flights between Kazakhstan and Pakistan next year. The last point that I wanted to mention, we do understand this very difficult situation between Pakistan and Afghanistan, But I would say the most recent developments that are taking place between Azerbaijan and Armenia, they show that we can still manage dialogue, we can still manage these conflicts. Just recently, Kazakhstan managed to deliver, to export some goods from Kazakhstan to Armenia via Azerbaijan. And today, Azerbaijan and Armenia, they are discussing Zangezur corridor, which will be another very important project in terms of our Trans-Caspian international transport corridor. Once again, thank you so much for your kind invitation, and if you have questions, I will be more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Kastafyan, for your excellent presentation, and the multiple routes you have identified quite lucrative, and hopefully we'll try on all routes in future. My next guest is from online, His Excellency Idris Zaman, who has been Afghanistan's diplomat, management expert, researcher, and peace-building practitioner for the past 25 years. From October 2018 to January 2020, Mr. Idris Zaman served with the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan as Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Affairs and later as Acting Foreign Minister of Afghanistan. He represented Afghanistan in numerous bilateral, multilateral, and international engagements. Mr. Idris Zaman also led Afghanistan's delegation to the United Nations for 74th General Assembly. Right after relinquishing his government position, Mr. Idris Zaman co-founded an Afghan think tank entitled Baham, with a focus on multi-track regional engagement for peace in Afghanistan, water and cultural diplomacy, and regional economic integration and cooperation. After the collapse of the Afghan Republic on 15th August 2021, Mr. Idris Zaman has been active in promoting dialogue with the Taliban regime and opposition. Mr. Idris Zaman, the participants of this session would be interested to know about the prospects of reconciliation in Afghanistan, as also the connectivity in which Afghanistan has a crucial role as a transit country. And I would request our participants that please limit your presentations to 10 minutes because we have time constraint. Sir, you have the floor, Mr. Idris Zaman.
Thank you, Excellency. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. Thank you, my friend and fellow Persian-speaking Durrani, Ambassador Asif Durrani. It is indeed a great honor and a pleasure to be part of this panel today. Let me thank and congratulate EPRI Institute for organizing this important and timely event and for inviting me to attend. I was actually supposed to be there in person, but due to some logistical problems in my part, I could not join. Before reading my presentation, let me condemn yesterday's terrorist attacks in Islamabad and Wana in South Waziristan. My prayers and thoughts are with the victims of this heinous act and their bereaved families. Coming to my presentation, as we all know and we heard in the presentations of other panelists, Afghanistan is a fulcrum of regional stability. Afghanistan's geography makes it an indispensable bridge between South and Central and West Asia. It is stability or lack thereof defines whether the region's vast potential for energy transit, trade, and cultural exchange can be realized. No major corridor, whether it is CASA 1000, TAPI, or South Asia, Central Asia Railway, can be materialized sustainably without predictability and assurance within Afghanistan's borders. Today, Afghanistan is not merely a transit point, it is a test case of whether the region can collectively insulate economic cooperation from political fragmentation and insecurity. The reality, unfortunately, is that regional peace cannot exist without an Afghan peace. An Afghan peace cannot be sustained without regional coherence. From an Afghan standpoint, the most pressing security impediment to regional trade and connectivity is the absence of a coherent regional strategy towards Afghanistan. Competing security doctrines, some transactional, some tactical, have replaced long-term cooperation. This fragmentation has, number one, created asymmetric security expectations among neighboring states. Secondly, this has allowed non-state actors and transnational criminal networks to exploit those gaps within Afghanistan. Thirdly, perpetuated mutual suspicion that hinders cross-border infrastructure development and banking integration. The result is a strategic paralysis, where no regional country feels secure enough to lead and none confident enough to follow. Now, what is the cost of blocked connectivity? Every unbuilt road, unlinked grid, or uncompleted pipeline represents not only lost trade, but also lost trust. For Afghanistan, blocked connectivity translates into persistence dependence on humanitarian relief instead of productive integration. A generation of youth left vulnerable to extremist recruitment due to joblessness. The erosion of public confidence in the promise of peace dividends. For wider region, the cost is measurable in billions of dollars in unrealized trade and untapped energy efficiency, but immeasurable in the erosion of soft power and regional credibility. Now, what's the path forward? Peace in Afghanistan cannot be outsourced. It requires a regional security compact, not as a political alignment, but as a collective economic safeguard. Such a framework should hold the following. Recognize Afghanistan as a neutral economic bridge, not an arena for proxy competition. Secondly, institutionalized counter-terrorism cooperation and intelligence sharing focused on transnational threats rather than internal political disputes. Thirdly, support non-politicized trade corridors overseen by regional economic forums to build mutual economic interdependence. And finally, encourage multilateral investment guarantees to reduce risk perception in Afghan-linked projects. In simple terms, security cooperation must evolve from a reaction to threats into an enabler of trade and trust. In conclusion, we should move from uncertainty to predictability. From an Afghan perspective, the most transformative investment the region can make is in predictability. In Afghanistan's diplomatic status, security posture, and economic participation. Predictability is the bedrock of trade, and trade is the most practical form of peace building. Only when Afghanistan's future ceases to be a question mark on every regional agenda, like today, can the region move from managing crises to managing prosperity. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency Idris Zaman. You are so right that we have to move from uncertainty to predictability. That is the need of the hour as far as connectivity is concerned. Thank you so much. I now request Dr. Hu Shixing to address this. Before, let me introduce Dr. Hu Shixing from China. He is a Senior Research Fellow and Deputy Secretary General of Academic Committee at China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, KK. Dr. Hu received his BA in Hindi and MA in Sanskrit and Bali languages from Peking University. He did his PhD in International Politics and Relations with a focus in ethnic and religious issues from KK in 2006. His research areas include the political and security situations in India and Pakistan, ethnic and religious problems in South Asia, and the Tibet issue. His most recent research focuses on South Asia, particularly India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan security issues. One of Dr. Hu's published books is Tibetans in Exile, The Construction of Group Identities and Its Embarrassment. It's published by Center of China Tibetology. We look forward to benefiting from Dr. Hu's wisdom about the emerging trends in the regional security realm. Since the connectivity is a major theme of this forum, Dr. Hu may wish to dilate upon the future prospects of Belt and Road Initiative, including China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And also thanks IPRI to have me here. And first, I would like to condole the victims of yesterday's
Your
terrorist
mic
attack.
is on.
Oh, now it is on? No. Now it is on?
Yes.
Okay. First, I would like to condole the victims of yesterday's terrorism, and second, I would like to condemn the perpetrators. My presentation will address 4 questions: why Pakistan matters, why progress has been slower than expected, I mean the regional connectivity, what is the opportunity cost of disturbed regional connectivity, and what we can do next. I will be very brief on the first 2 questions and elaborate a little on the later 2 questions. First question, why Pakistan matters for regional connectivity? Firstly, a geographical hinge across 3 regions, that is South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East. So Pakistan is a very natural transit corridor which bridging these 3 sub-Asian regions. Secondly, economic and demographic weight. A population of roughly 240 million provides abundant labor and a sizable consumer base. Pakistan holds comparative advantages also in agriculture, textiles, leather, mining, also segments of the information industry. Better connectivity can scale these advantages across regional markets and embed Pakistan more deeply into regional value chains. Third, multilateral platforms. As a member of both SCO and OIC, Pakistan can help align security dialogues with developmental agendas, amplifying cooperative spillovers across regions. So the second question is, why Pakistan's pivotal role has not been fully materialized? Despite its location and potential, Pakistan's bridging function has been constrained by 4 interlocking factors. Firstly, domestic governance and infrastructure gaps, policy discontinuities, and bureaucratic inefficiencies have complicated cross-border projects. While CPEC seized chronic power shortage in Pakistan, the transport networks remain uneven, the port management efficiency lags behind best practice, so limiting Pakistan's ability to function as a logistic hub. Secondly, elevated terrorism risks and cross-border insecurity. So militant groups operating in this region like the TTP, BLA, ISKP have conducted or plotted frequent cross-border attacks, with TTP's presence in Afghanistan especially disruptive. So this has hindered the CPEC's, for example, the outward extension beyond Pakistan. So the regional energy corridors, another example, that those regional energy corridors which must traverse Afghanistan and Pakistan, like TAPI, like CASA 1000, has also stalled amid insecurity and strained relations. Moreover, rising counterterrorism expenditures further squeezed or crowd out infrastructure investment. Thirdly, the Indo-Pakistan standoff and conflicts, I do not want to elaborate on it. I just want to mention that India has relentlessly sought to discredit, disturb CPEC, because the construction of CPEC has been viewed or valued as a potential game changer in this region. So it is naturally, its success will not be expected to see by India. Fourthly, great power competition effects like the Indians' Afghanistan card against Pakistan, like zero-sum rivalry between the Indo-Pacific strategy-linked initiatives and the BRI-linked initiatives in the subcontinent or also in the Indian Ocean region. And also the US sanctions against this, against that, etc. All constrained Pakistan's ability to play its full hub role. The third question, sorry. The opportunity costs of blocked connectivity. Firstly, higher trade costs and missed market integration. Because South Asia lacks seamless cross-border transport, power grids, and digital links, a South Asian common market has not emerged. Intra-regional trade hovers around only 5% of total trade, far below East Asia, far below EU. The World Bank estimates intra-South Asia goods trade could reach to about $67 billion, but has remained near $23 billion. Another example, Indo-Pakistan trade alone has an unrealized potential of roughly $37 billion. Yet, I found the figure last year only stood at $1.2 billion. Also, repeated closures at the Afghanistan-Pakistan border have stranded thousands of trucks, ruining perishables and hurting small and medium macro enterprises and livelihoods. Another vivid example is Gwadar port. Gwadar's container throughput remains negligible. I found last year the Gwadar received container throughput volume only about 2,300 TEUs, far below its planned role as a regional transshipment and feeder hub, because the original design capacity of Gwadar port is about 10 billion TEUs, while last year is only about 0.023% of the designed capacity. So we found most major shipping lines still operate mainly through Karachi port, Qasim port. Secondly, a lost window for industrial upgrading. Since terrorism had increasingly targeted industrial parks and related assets, delaying the build-out of manufacturing ecosystems in line with the CPEC master plan. Pakistan has therefore captured far less of the ongoing supply chain reconfiguration than India, than Bangladesh, than ASEAN peer countries. Without regional production networks, each country ends up working alone, and it becomes hard to share resources, skills, and opportunities across the region. So the global competitiveness of this region suffers. This feeds a poverty, instability, extremist loop. High youth unemployment sustains recruitment pools for violent groups, which in turn further depress investment and growth, pushing industries offshore. The third reason is that the cost is eroded political trust and installed regional cooperation. Connectivity is a trust-building public good. When borders and transport routes keep closing, like what happened between India and Pakistan, like what happened between Afghanistan and Pakistan. So trust, faith, and the habit of working together slowly disappears. Crises become harder to manage collectively, and the damage multiplies across societies and economies. Afghanistan's slow reconstruction, the persistent militant safe havens in the AFPAC tribal regions, and the underperformance of CPEC especially its external extension, are all manifestations of this systemic opportunity cost. Finally, the fourth question, how can we move forward? Firstly, a decisive campaign against terrorism and its instrumentalization. All states must renounce the temptation to use terror for leverage. Selective counterterrorism and proxy warfare politicize the problem, make durable solutions harder, and directly undermine development corridors in this region. Secondly, innovate cooperation models that bind interests locally and regionally. Start with demonstrable projects in secured districts to build up cross-border special economic zones, to build up border trade centers, to build up logistic hubs that create visible shared gains. Under CPEC phase second, let's prioritize secure centers, industrial parks, in textiles, smartphones, e-cars, agro-processing, minerals, to boost manufacturing competitiveness, raise fiscal revenues, and crucially, most importantly, absorb youth into formal employment to dampen radicalization risks. The third suggestion is build, especially like China and Pakistan take the lead, to build a regional development community anchored in connectivity. In this regard, we can uphold or practice according to my personal perspective, there's minus philosophy while promoting the regional connectivity. What does it mean? That China and Pakistan take the lead to promote South Asian integration through connectivity. If others not get prepared, okay, let it be. We can go with others. If India says no, okay, let it be. We can go with others. If Afghanistan refuses to do that, okay, let it be. We can go, we can move forward with others. So what I want to say is make a connectivity the core public good in this region to integrate security coordination, industrial linkage, and policy alignment into one operating framework. In terms of security coordination, Pakistan and China, institutionalize routine counterterrorism cooperation under ASEAN, under China, Pakistan, Afghanistan format, or even the 6+1 framework to stabilize the operating environment. In terms of industrial linkage, use CPEC phase second as an engine for cross-border parks, for cross-border special economic zones and energy networks, knitting together supply, value, and logistics chains. In terms of policy alignment, let's gradually harmonize infrastructure standards, customs and transit rules, and investment regimes to lower frictions and spread gains. The aim is to form a virtuous cycle, development enabling security, and security safeguarding development. So with Pakistan functioning as a resilient hub within a broader rule-based regional market. I just stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hu. And you have given a new direction. Those who don't want to join the consensus, so let's move on. I think it's a good idea. It needs further deliberation. Next on my, I invite Dr. Roxolana Zigon. She's from Russia, but has spent her many decades abroad. She is the author. She is the director. Currently, she holds the position of the director of the Scientific Center for International Research, Diplomacy, and Participation of Civilizations. She is also an active writer and TV host and author of the multiple papers and researches, theatrical plays, and movie scripts, and poetry. So, such a multifaceted personality. I request Dr. Roxolana scholarly pursuits about security and connectivity in the regional context should provide us a valuable insight on impending challenges and opportunities. You have the floor. And since, again, it's a time constraint, if you can please limit your presentation to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank distinguished audience, my colleagues, the panelists, that have been quite accurate in giving a detailed analysis and strategic insight of the importance of connectivity, trade, investments, and security issues in the region of South Asia and Central Asia. I would like to talk from the perspective of Pakistan. I would like, in the context of my speech, to thank the ambassador of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, who has clearly indicated an importance of connecting not only the regions but the continents. Moreover, I highly appreciate an important stance that has sounded here about the significance of eliminating the unpredictability and uncertainty that has become a reality in the region. However, before we will talk about contextual intelligence of the issue of security, we must clear up what kind of concept and what kind of methodology were furnished to utilize and represent. Actually, when we talk about regional security, fight against terrorism and organized crime, economic connectivity, and trade enhancement, technological breakthroughs, we mean not that only the backyard of the global order system, we mean the nucleus of the emerging multipolar world. We mean something that goes far beyond our traditional forms and ways of perception. We deal with something highly intangible that challenges political geography, economic ties between states, national and regional security. We are confronted by the daily growth of complexity of the risks and threats that demand unprecedented approach, strategic insight and polymathic leadership. But again, I would like to take a look at the situation from the perspective of Pakistan. Pakistan has been threatened and has been dwelling for decades in a quite negative, aggressive environment. Moreover, it has been a heavy weight and pressure from the side of international media that has been marking Pakistan as the epicenter of terrorism, extremism, and radicalism. And I think the time has come to reconsider, to reconceptualize the situation, and to look from the point of view how the strategic view can be adopted to the new reality, to the escalation of tension along the borders of Pakistan. We have recently witnessed the situation of the war conflict between India and Pakistan, and more recent tensions on the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. We have also witnessed the deterioration of diplomatic efforts in order to conclude peace talks and secure the borders between Afghanistan and Pakistan. But unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, every single element of strategic security is interlaced with a broader agenda and broader context. So where is Pakistan standing today? Pakistan is slowly but steadily getting involved by the outer forces and the global affairs dynamics to the spiral of the unprecedented challenges of power reconceptualization, redistribution, and revitalization. In this context, I would like to take a closer look at what power means on the regional level in order to have a broader scope and broader understanding of how Pakistan can meet and address the global order agenda. Power is born within the process when everyone runs while you have an ability to stop. And Pakistan is standing in this precise position to stop it, to reconsider itself in the context of the regional connectivity, regional interdependence, interlace of the whole complex of issues and security challenges. Today, power offers you a dilemma of either you manage your geo-economic, geopolitical, and geocognitive resources, or you are to repeat the scenarios and strategies of linear motion forward in the future. Power has never been as eloquent as these days. It depends on the connectivity between people to people, and we have to consider it and not to undermine the perspectiveness of enhancement of this type of connectivity and communication in the context of the sixth technological wave. It becomes much more significant than political geography. As soon as political geography being challenged by the systemic shifts of the global world order or disorder gives way to the quantum geopolitics, where connectivity and interdependence is less engaged with the territory and more with the geocognitive dimension, where political, economic narrative counts much more than a sheer political geographic position. Those states that know how to control, direct the energy of connectivity, they are to define rules and scenarios of the future and the new reality. You can't be a leader just because you are given a favorable geostrategic position in the region. You are to be able to connect the body, mind, and spirit of the lens as if you are addressing the conscious images and projecting visions on the big screen of the unseen yet perspectives. You formulate future freely without dependency on the past and present. We can say that no power in the world, including the West, is willing to launch the World War III. And I think we will be witnessing all forms of the hybrid wars and perma-crisis of different amplitude in the nearest future. Unfortunately, the West doesn't demonstrate any kind of strategic vision, strategic thinking that can counterbalance a powerful collective anti-West wave which touches the region of South Asia. And we can also register how that kind of confrontation waves are coming from the epicenter of military conflict in Europe and slowly but steadily moving in direction to the South Asia. Multipolarity is the fact, but still it is not a defined world order. In this context, the key goal of Pakistan is to act with a strategic enhancement and avoid the rehearsal of the past geopolitical traps. In this context, I would like to suggest, on the ground of the Margalla Dialogue Forum, an initiative that I truly believe can strengthen the position of Pakistan and can strengthen its strategic awareness. I think it will be quite relevant if Pakistan will offer an Islamabad path interdependence consensus format. I call it EPIC, that corresponds to the famous economic investment project CPEC. Considering a high level of instability and permanent risks to break up the fragile borders and security agreements, deterioration of the peace talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan and other international actors such as Turkey and Qatar, there is a strong call for setting up the initiative that will embrace 4 decisive pillars in the context of Pakistan and the region of South Asia. It's geoeconomic, geopolitical, geostrategic, and geocognitive. Because I truly believe that without a collective security effort, whereas Pakistan can take a leading role, there will be quite difficult, or rather impossible, to unite a distorted elements or the whole set of unpredictability which are spread all around the region of South Asia, Central Asia, including Afghanistan, Iran, and the border between Pakistan and India in one united strategic knot. Therefore, I believe that Pakistan, using its position as a strategic hub, which is capable to connect not only transportation corridors, which actually exploit 6 transportation trade corridors at the present moment, but to cover a much broader strategic space, can initiate this Islamabad Path interdependence consensus format and to lead it forward. Moreover, I think it will be quite useful if the security policy strategic plan that Pakistan has coined in 2022 until 2026 will receive a prolongation, a logical prolongation, and will offer a so-called soft intelligence power concept, because I truly believe without the concept, Pakistan will not be able to combine together its geostrategic forces and offer to its partners a practical framework of realization of security strategy and connectivity. Soft intelligence power will give to Pakistan a deeper decoding of the notion soft power, which is truly in need today. I think that all these incentives that I have just mentioned are to be gathered on the considerate frame of the new conceptual approach of the Islamabad Path Interdependence Consensus format, which will become a manifestation of the soft intelligence of Pakistan power and strategic leadership in the context of the emerging world order. I think the motto of Pakistan can become unite and lead. This motto can correspond to the spirit of Pakistan and its partners in the Central Asia, Middle East, and South Asia. An important incentive I would like also to mention that while realizing any kind of strategic plan from the position, from the point of Pakistan, it's also crucially important to elaborate a united information system of exchange. That's actually a practical tool that will help to provide a united security system or united security architecture in the region of South Asia. I would like to thank you for being so generous to listen to my ideas and initiatives, and I do hope that these initiatives will have its realization and Pakistan will demonstrate a capability of unite and leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Roxolana, for your innovative ideas, and hopefully that could generate more discussion in our future discourse. Now, our last participant of the panel is Ambassador Margalla Shakri. He has been the Islamic Republic of Iran's ambassador to Pakistan from 2006 till 11. His Excellency Shakri was born in Yazd, Iran in 1957, holds a master's degree in engineering, and has served in the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran since 1987. He also served in the Ministry of Roads and Transportation and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Currently, he collaborates with research institutions and media organizations in Iran and is a member of the academic board at the Iqbal Forum. His research interests focus on transport economics and regional connectivity. We look forward to listening to you, Ambassador Shakri, about the Iranian perspective on the regional integration, especially when both Pakistan and Iran share membership in ECO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and OIC, and have common interests for the stability of Afghanistan. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Should I press? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everybody. Before I begin, I find myself in the fortunate position of having several important thank yous to make. First, my sincere thanks go to the Institute of IPRI for organizing this event and for their wonderful hospitality. The work this institute does is vital, and I am thrilled to be a part of today's conversation. Secondly, and on a more personal note, I am delighted to see my longtime friend, Ambassador Asif Ali Durrani Sahib, in the chair today. We have shared many discussions over the years, and I do confess, Asif gives me great confidence. I would also be remiss if I did not acknowledge the distinguished colleagues and top officials present here today. While I cannot name everyone, I am truly humbled by the collective expertise and experience in this room. I thank you all for your presence. So let me concentrate on regional connectivity, economy, and security. If I can have the first slide, I can comment on that. In our interconnected world, connectivity is no longer just a utility. It is the fundamental backbone of modern society. This presentation will argue the strategic, resilient connectivity is the critical prerequisite for both national security and a thriving, secure economy. By fostering integration, we build not just networks, but shield and engines for growth. When we think of connectivity, it is easy to picture physical bridges and digital networks. But I believe its truest form is far more profound. It is the shared language we speak, the stories in our poetry, and the ethical values we hold dear. The timeless wisdom of visionaries, I'm just taking little from the mainstream that my previous speakers spoke. I would like to give a new light, new shade to the visionaries and the new concept and new horizon of connectivity. With this, the timeless wisdoms of visionaries like Hafiz, Saadi, Rumi, and Allama Iqbal beautifully reminds us of this today. I want to explore with you how nurturing this rich human connectivity is the surest path to the future that is not only most secure, but also more prosperous for us all. This is Hafiz of Shiraz, which is known to many of our Pakistani and South Central Asian friends. Somewhere, I again apologize, I have to just refer to the origin of the saying of these visionaries. Hafiz says, in some of these parts in his divan, به شعر حافظ شیراز می رقصند و می نازند سیاه چشمان کشمیری و ترکان سمرقندی. To the poetry of Hafiz of Shiraz, they dance and they strut the dark-eyed beauties of Kashmir and the Turks of Samarkand. It eloquently speaks to the unifying, border-transcending power of culture and poetry. Next is Rumi, which is known to many our audience distinguished here. He says in one part of his Masnavi, تو برای وصل کردن آمدی، نی برای فصل کردن آمدی. You have come for connection, not for separation. And very beautifully, Allama Iqbal, the next slide, says, بوتان رنگ و بوک و دور کر ملت میں گم ہو جا نہ تورانی رہی باقی نہ ایرانی نہ افغانی. This is the ultimate level of connectivity built on a foundation of deep integrity. Iqbal is calling for a connectivity that is far deeper than economic or political alliances. He advocates for a connectivity of purpose and spirit. And last but not least, Sheikh Sadi reflects deeply on humanity, suggesting that all people share a single essence. He emphasizes that this common origin unifies us, reminding us of our interconnectedness and the importance of compassion and understanding. بنی آدم اعضای یک پیکرند که در آفرینش ز یک گوهرند چو عضوی به درد آورد روزگار دگر عضوها را نماند قرار. The children of Adam are limbs of a single body, who in creation are made from one essence. When one limb is afflicted by fate, the other limbs cannot remain at rest. We are so deeply connected that the success or failure of one directly impacts the other. Ignoring this connection is as futile as a body ignoring a wounded limb. At this stage, I am compelled to keep distance from the soft world of literature and concentrate on the mainstream of the dialogue, which is a bit solemn and rigid. Now, if I go a little deep in the history, centuries back, the visionary wisdom of our ancestors, embodied by the legendary Silk Road, maybe Silk Road, yeah, this is the Silk Road, was the first great materialization of this philosophy. It was more than a trade route. It was the ancient world prototype for connectivity, where the movement of goods facilitated the very culture and civilizational dialogue celebrated by Hafiz and Sadi. Today, our modern endeavors, building ports, energy corridors, and digital networks are not a break from this legacy, but it is a direct evolution. We are reigniting those ancient pathways, transforming them into a resilient arteries of modern body politics, ensuring that the security and prosperity they enable are as enduring as the wisdom that inspired them. The ancient Silk Road spirit, bridging continents through commerce and culture, is reborn in today's digital and physical corridors. Initiatives like the Asian Highway, and the Altit project are its modern incarnations, weaving a new tapestry of connectivity. These networks of road and rail do more than move goods. They forge geopolitical alliances, fuel economies, and ensure that the flow of ideas and security remain vital now as it was then. The ancient Silk Road thrived on the palpable, the weight of silk, the scent of spice, the gleam of gemstones. These were treasures that engaged the senses directly. Today, our global network trades in something far more elemental, the very current of modern civilization itself. The Silk Road traded things you could touch, like silk, spices, and gems. Today, we trade the invisible forces that power our world, like electricity through grids, data through internet cables, and digital services like streaming and cloud storage. We moved from trading exotic goods to trading essential energy and information. Just as ancient caravans flowed through Persian caravanserais, modern corridors like the China Belt and Road BRI, which is flagship is CPEC in Pakistan, and international north-south transport corridor, seek and can traverse through Iran. By connecting the southern Asian ports to the Caspian Sea ports, Iran and Pakistan jointly and physically bridge the economies of South and Eastern Asia with Europe, Russia, and CIS. These pivotal positions grants Tehran and Islamabad immense strategic leverage, transforming them from a regional players into a crucial arbiters of Eurasian connectivity, trade, and energy security. Just before that, this is the Asian highway that passes through Pakistan and connects originates from Pakistan, connects Iran, and then Turkey, and a number of routes that we have, AH7, H8, H1, and Iran has tried to be within the framework of international obligation. Let me refer here to a famous Chinese proverb that says, if you want to get rich, build a road first. This saying reflects a deep cultural and economic insight. The infrastructure development, especially transportation, is key to prosperity. The next slide, please. This is the Asian highway that I have explained. Next one. These are the southern ports of Iran, which I should just speak about. Iran geographically places it at the crossroad of Central Asia, the Middle East, extending from the Caspian Sea in the north to the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman in the south. The country's development depends greatly on the efficiency and integration of its ports and railway networks. So this is the southern port of Iran, which is Bandar Abbas. That one is Chabahar. Bandar Abbas, Chabahar, Bushehr, Khorramshahr, and BIK Bandar Imam. And we have got 16 Iranian ports. The installed capacity of Iranian ports now exceeds 300 million tons per annum. Nearly half of this volume serves domestic trade, while the remainder supports international commerce, particularly the transit of goods to and from neighboring countries. Before this.
Excellency, you have just 2 more minutes.
Okay, I'm just at the end. We have about 16,000 kilometers of railway connecting ports from southern side to the northern side, and several missing links are being under construction, like Chabahar to Zahedan, and Qazvin, Rasht, Anzali, Rasht, Ansara railway. Okay, by expanding capacity building efforts, which helps reduce economic isolation and serve as a bridge connecting all stakeholders, economies can grow through the power of synergy. This collective momentum ultimately fosters peace, prosperity, and security. If you let me, I have got 2 minutes of a clip, the final one. Just last but one. Last but one. The one. Yeah, just run this one. This shows how the work is going on. This is a film. Can you run it? Can you please run it? This is how the work is going on in Iran. With this, I conclude.
با کیفیت کار می‌کنید.
She's Minister of Transportation.
سلامت باشید. من این مثال این موضوع اشاره کردم. خیلی ممنون. یاقوله و دانش مهندسی مهندس اینجا خیلی زحمت می‌کشن و قدرش رو باید دونست. هر کنیم که با کمک شما بتونیم تصمیم کنیم. من با شما کاملا موافقم. هر کمکی که می‌خواید ما ثبت بشه. بعضن یه اتفاقاتی توی این پروژه افتاده که تکرار شدنی نیست توی پروژه‌های دیگه.
ما به طبیعت دست نزدیم که یعنی حتی یه پایه پل هم توی دره ما نزدیم. طبیعت همونجوری که از قبل داشت کارشو می‌کرد، ما فقط با پل روش رد شدیم. هیچ سخت و تصرفی نکردیم. حافظداری
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Excellency. I'm an eyewitness to the excellent infrastructure Iran has built in the country, and also they have been taking up projects overseas. Definitely, we have the geographical advantage, we have all the trappings to emerge as hub of regional connectivity, excellent regional connectivity opportunities are there. The question is there are some roadblocks which need to be removed. Thank you so much. I can only take 2 questions because, and that would, also because I have to cut 10 minutes from your tea break. So please, just 2 questions. Left gentleman, introduce your name and only question, please. One-liner questions, not debate. Thank you.
Jay, thank you very much, Ambassador Durrani, Tawqir Ahmed, defense analyst and security expert. Question regarding Afghanistan. I mean, we have millions of refugees in Pakistan. We supported them, we feeded them, and we still cannot find a solution. We know the problems, we know the issues, and we are still back to square where we were for years. My question is, what is the solution, and why our Central Asian countries' brothers cannot put their influence on Afghanistan to stop trans-border terrorism and insurgency? Thank you.
Thank you. Is this question directed to anyone from the participants, or should I answer it?
I think you are the most.
You are the best, yes.
I think
His Excellency from...
it is not a new phenomenon.
Thank you.
Afghanistan is suffering for the past 46 years. So you can't resolve it in 46 months. You have to be patient, but you have to persevere. And that is the solution. We should not hurry things because we tried to support some alliances hurriedly, and we are seeing the results now. Thank you. You have the questions. Here.
Hello and good noon to everyone. I have a special question for Dr. Shishang. So I would like to know, you mentioned by cooperation between China and Pakistan alone, we can somehow go with all our aims here, especially South Asia. Taking the ground realities in mind, how is it really possible if a country like Afghanistan is not playing alone? So what is your idea, and how did you came to this conclusion that China and Pakistan alone can do all what they are planning right now? Thank you so much.
No, my perspective argument is that China and Pakistan can take the lead because we are all beneficiary for this kind of regional connectivity. If others said, oh, we're not get prepared, okay, let it be. We can move forward. Anyway, we have CPEC already on the ground. We have this kind of platform. So we can just, now is entering the second phase. So we have this originally, we have laid out solid foundations. So we can take the lead. Anyway, this kind of initiative needs someone to stand out to take the lead. While in this region, Pakistan is the bridge. So Pakistan should be side by side with China to take this kind of initial regional initiatives to moving forward, step by step. So let all the others get prepared, then that's good. Let's join it together, but step by step. Okay, that is my opinion.
Thank you. I have just 2 more minutes. There's room for one question. No ladies?
No, over there.
Okay, ladies have gone there. Right. Yes, please.
Hello. Ma'am, my question is from you, Dr. Rosalena. Ma'am, we see China initiated a talk between South Asian countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, and Pakistan, Bangladesh, and China. So why China does not initiate talks between India and Pakistan, as we know that the threat perception of all these countries engulf the policy of the whole region. And when we talk about connectivity or security, so China has a larger stake over this region.
To whom this question you have asked?
Dr. Rosalena.
To me?
Yeah.
Yes. Did you hear the question?
I would kindly ask you to specify your question. Because you have given a broader perspective, but to be more precise.
Ma'am, actually, my question is why China does not initiate talks between India and Pakistan when we know that China has largest stake in South Asia through CPEC and BRI as well.
But gentlemen, this question should have been asked from a Chinese scholar.
Well, I can answer, of course, for China, but it will be not respected.
You're most welcome.
Actually, I'm eager to know about your perspective from Russian Federation. So that's why I'm asking from you.
Okay.
You know, you have started considering from Russian perspective, from Chinese perspective. Okay, let me answer you in the context of my vision as a geopolitician. Your question is more rhetorical, you know, philosophical. Why China is not doing something? When China is not exposing an active position in what you have been mentioning, it doesn't mean China is not considering it, or China is not reflecting about it. I'm more than sure that China is extremely busy in realizing a significant part of its long-term strategy of expanding connectivity and exposing a mutual or united destiny of the humanity. Of course, China considers all the risks and threats that are related to the specific geopolitical, geostrategic position of Pakistan and its hurdle and tension with India. China is actually finding itself in a quite difficult situation because it has to handle the economic connectivity, the economic collaboration with Pakistan, and of course consider all the risks of tension escalation between Pakistan and India. That's the reason why I have mentioned that together with China, and I would like to support the idea of my colleague from China, that China and Pakistan can become a driving force, and it doesn't matter at what stage other partners will join that kind of dual company, like the Union of Pakistan and China. But we should consider that there are different phases. There is a global, kind of broader life cycle of the crisis, and there is a local life cycle. And I'm more than sure that when Pakistan identifies its strategic position and coins that kind of initiative that I have mentioned before, Islamabad interdependence path consensus format, that will automatically unpack, decode all the perspectiveness, positive perspectiveness in diplomatic sense, in economic, geostrategic, including the resolution of all those situations and tensions that Pakistan has been having in its diplomatic pocket in relation to India. And China will certainly join that initiative. From this point of view, Pakistan somehow will lift its position, its leverage, in consideration to the economic dominance of China, and will expose itself as a strategic leader. And uniting these forces with China, Pakistan can articulate a new agenda in consideration to the resolution of the conflict between India and Pakistan. That's why I think it doesn't mean that China is staying away. China is not staying away. China is actively monitoring the ground in consideration to the relationship between India and Pakistan.
Thank you, Dr. Roxanne. Dr. Hu, you have 1 minute if you can sum up. Yeah.
China has invited India to join hand in hand to promote the regional connectivity. For example, that we have been persuading India to join together to push forward the Belt and Road Initiative up to 2016. Each year, whenever our leaders meet the Indian leaders, we just persuade them, convince them to join hands by hands, but they just refuse, so we just give it up. But anyway, Indians have his own initiative, like the BBRN, BIMSTEC, Sagar, Act East, I2, U2. Anyway, they just want to compete with China, not joining with China, but want to compete with China. So that is the reason we hope, but we still keep it open. It is open-ended. We still finally welcome India to join hands with all the regional parties. So because we are part of this region, we have to work together.
Thank you so much, and I think you have said it all. It's not enough to be big. You have to be great. So this is a mindset the nations in the region, they have to think about. Thank you so much. You have been a wonderful audience. You have been very patient. And thank you to our participants. A big hand to our participants here.
Thank you so much, everyone, for such an enlightening discourse. I would now like to request President IPRI to please present mementos to our worthy speakers. His Excellency Yerzan Kistafin. Dr. Hu Shisheng. Dr. Roxolana Zygon. Ambassador Mashallah Shakri. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our first session for the day. We will now take a short break for tea and resume at 12:20 p.m. sharp. Thank you so much.